Hello everyone, and many thanks for joining today's second live stream with the news summary from Moscow. Thank you all for your time and attention, of course. And as always, I have prepared quite a number of news on some major developments, and I'm quite sure many of you, will find those news important. Hopefully, hopefully at least. And also, of course, I will share my takes on some of the developments. I'm gonna try my best to keep keep my cool, right? Not to go too emotional as I did this morning. By the way, during the first live stream, it was basically hour-long rant. I don't know if you have seen it or not, but yeah, it's available. Original links are on my Patreon and their Boosty pages. You can check it out, by the way. But yes, things happen. Frustration will get to you at some point, and it's not no longer frustration; it's anger. Actually, that me and I'm quite sure many other my fellow countrymen are feeling in regards to what's going on in terms of impunity with which NATO countries are killing Russian citizens and destroying Russian civilian and military infrastructure, by the way, right? We all know NATO countries are involved, and well, it is what it is. Uh, in case, dear friends, you don't know, if you are new, we have some changes lately on the channels, and I'm streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble channels of mine, and we have some changes out to live stream, which is public. Videos are unlisted, and the original links are published on my Patreon and their Boosty pages. And I'm uploading full videos through there in case you prefer to watch video not on YouTube or Rumble, but on Patreon or Boosty, right? You have a choice there. And right now, if I may, I will drop in both chats, by the way, on YouTube and Rumble, links to my Patreon. So it should be visible right now. And in our YouTube chat, I want to drop also a link to my Rumble channel. If you can, click that link and watch this video on Rumble, will be very helpful. And I will also let you know, dear friends, that a member of our community, a big supporter of my work, this project, this independent media project, Viper, have published this commentary there on Rumble chatter, which says leave a message in the chat and get a free month of a premium membership subscription on Rumble. Help Levan. So if you can, dear friends, if you are watching on YouTube right now, and if you can to go to Rumble and leave a message there, you will get a month of free premium subscription, and that will be support of my work, because you will get this gift from Viper, and every such a gift is a $5 donation to this project. So many thanks to you, Viper, once again, for being very supportive. Thank you. And well, that's been said, dear friends. As I said, I'm gonna try to keep my cool. Right, there's a lot of news, breaking news too, dear friends, that some of you might find surprising. And even though I was planning not to talk about in this second live stream about a proxy war that West is waging against Russia, I think I cannot avoid a conversation about it. And I will start with that. In case you missed today's first live stream, that hour-long rant of mine, for which I apologize, by the way, to members of our community, because they are different people. Some people are more sensitive than others, and they're not really appreciate when authors on this project go too emotional. But some other members of community actually enjoy those moments more and find it more dynamic and entertaining. So I mean, you never know, isn't it? But in any ways, I want to remind you that past night, according to Russian Defense Ministry, air defenses intercepted 389 drones that was launched by NATO and their proxy regime to strike deep into Russian territory. Drones were launched, throughout the European part of Russian Federation. For example, drones were intercepted in Bryansk, Smolensk, Kaluga, Kursk, Tver, Ariel, Belgorod, Tula, Pskov, Novgorod, Vologda, Leningrad regions, Moscow region, and the Republic of Crimea. I mean, vast geography, isn't it? And number of drones is also bigger, almost 400 drones just during the past night. And as of now, I don't have stats about work of air defenses during the day, but I have no doubts at least dozens of drones, if not hundreds, were also intercepted on top of this almost 400 past night. And I mentioned the Leningrad region, which was targeted significantly, big time. At least 56 drones were intercepted over the Leningrad region, according to Defense Ministry's update. But unfortunately, not all aerial targets can be intercepted all the time, right? Even best air defense systems are unable to keep 100% score. It's just technically not possible, especially when we are talking about biggest country in this world. You can imagine how vast the Russia is, isn't it? I mean, it's just impossible to control the sky for 100 freaking percent and be able to intercept all the aerial targets. Even Israel cannot do this kind of stuff. Intercept all the incoming aerial targets, and Israel compared to Russia is like a drop in the ocean, right? So you know what am I talking about, and I have said many times before that whenever there is attacks on Leningrad region, I believe these drones are launched from NATO territories, from Baltic states. There are some sources, by the way, including in Russian segment of internet, that are making claims that Turkey regime is launching drones on its territory, on its controlled territory. Those drones allegedly are crossing into Poland, then from Poland to Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and then entering the Russian Federation. Even if so, this is direct involvement yet again of NATO countries. They are not intercepting these drones, so they are part of this attack in that case. But I think situation is much more straightforward. NATO territories are used for launches of these missiles. Personal take. Either way, by the way, NATO is involved, right? NATO is involved, and unfortunately, until we will retaliate on the sponsors of this terrorist regime in Kiev, we will face these tremendous challenges, these tremendous risks that NATO countries and their proxies in Kiev are posing to Russian citizens, Russian Federation. And when it comes to this attack in Leningrad region, I want to share with you information that there was a massive fire at Ust-Luga port in the Leningrad region after an attack by formerly Ukrainian drones, in reality NATO drones. The port specializes in export of oil, coal, and gas, and is their largest in the Baltics. Neighboring port of Primorsk was attacked the day before yesterday, and let me share with you this screen. Oh, I just realized, by the way, that screen capture was not on, so you can see now. This image, which is allegedly from Ust-Luga, right? I saw these reports on one of the biggest Russian channels on internet, on a Telegram. Massive fire. You can imagine scale of damage to this portal infrastructure. And also, I can share with you video of aftermath of this attack. Smoke that covers tremendous area, by the way, tremendous area. And this was done by NATO. If anyone actually believes that this is a key regime, then sorry, but go by Himalaya mountains. It's on sales. It's on sale, right? In I don't know, Tesco. This is NATO attack on the Russian Federation, on the strategical infrastructure of the Russian Federation. And as of now, I guess we already suffered in terms of human losses in thousands of people, and in terms of material losses, it's in hundreds of billions, if not more. And I'm afraid this will continue until we will strike back and strike back hard on sponsors of this terrorist regime in Kiev. And main sponsors of this terrorist regime are US, UK, France, Germany. And there are some others, smaller ones, but that's the major sponsors, right? And if one will argue that if you strike on US, that will trigger full-scale nuclear war and extinction level event, and that I see points in that. We can revenge on US in some other ways, but when it comes to UK, France, Germany, I mean, these three we can punish severely, demilitarize them, decapitate their political, military, intelligence infrastructure, eliminate their industrial capabilities with their single strikes. In one wave of strike, that will take only about 1 hour. And I truly have no freaking idea why we are not doing this. 1 hour, and neither France, neither UK, neither Germany will be in a position to kill Russian citizens and destroy Russian strategical infrastructure with such impunity. Because as of now, without retaliation, you tell me what price either UK or France or Germany are paying for this crime. None, correct? None. And well, I don't know how this is going to continue, by the way, but this is wrong, man. This is wrong in so many levels that I don't even want to talk about no more, right? That's why I was thinking, you know what, maybe I should freaking pause on reporting about this proxy war between West and Russia, because very many things no longer makes any freaking sense, and I'm not even going to try to come up with some explanations for myself why we are exercising still this restraint and why we are doing this and that. It makes no freaking sense, period, right? You might say, well, Moscow is exercising restraint because maybe there is some hope that peace agreement going to be reached between Washington and Moscow, and Washington will force Kiev regime to agree on this and that, which is not true. Which is not true, by the way. When it comes to these terrorist attacks on the Russian Federation orchestrated by NATO countries, let me also give you this information that there was a drone attack on the northern Russia, as I already spoke about it. For several days, Ukrainian drones have been attacking, formerly Ukrainian, in reality NATO drones were attacking the Leningrad region. Today, governor reported on more than 30 drones being intercepted, but some of them still managed to reach their targets. Thus, after the airport Primorsk, the airport of Ust-Luga was attacked. In addition, there were strikes on the Russian Federation Security Service, FSB. They struck FSB headquarters, their regional headquarters, as far as I can tell them. Patrol icebreaker of the project 23550 also was targeted, which was being built for FSB border service at the Vyborg shipyard, suffered significant damage and subsequently rolled over. And on your screen right now, you can see this vessel is being rolled over. I posted pictures on my Telegram and Twitter X pages. You can check it out if you want to see in a bigger resolution. It's also significant damage also, obviously. And it is reported that one drone attempted to attack FSB building also in Vyborg. So yes, that's what is happening, by the way. That's what we are dealing with, and of course, this kind of terrorist attacks on Russian Federation will continue as long as the sponsors, main sponsors of Ukrainian Nazis and fascist Ukrainian terrorists are not being punished severely. And we know who those sponsors are. It's a British ruling class, British intelligence, British militaries. It's a US ruling class, US intelligence, US militaries. It's a French ruling class, militaries and intelligence there. Germany the same. If we deal with these four terrorist entities, we can then deal with the rest with relative ease. But if we don't, that's what we're going to endure in that case. And this is just the beginning, because based on the numbers, based on stats, well, one can argue that soon Kiev regime will be Kiev regime and NATO. I mean, it's NATO, right? That is targeting Russia. Soon NATO and Kiev regime, let's say this way, will be in a position to overwhelm Russian air defenses in such a scale that we will have a tremendous issue in our hands. I mean Russia. Already on daily basis, hundreds and hundreds of drones are launched towards Russian Federation. Already one might argue that Russian air defenses are on the brink of being overwhelmed. And clearly NATO countries that have a combined economy like 10, 20 times bigger than Russia are catching up, and maybe even outrunning Russia in terms of at least drone production. So that's what is happening. And yet again, if one will say that, you know what, Russia is exercising restraint, or Moscow is exercising restraint, because there is a hope that Washington and Moscow will reach some agreement soon and there will be de-escalation. This is a fake hope. This is not a fake hope. This is a ungrounded hope, let's say this way. Not happening, right? And the aide of Russian president Ushakov actually spoke about, hinted about this. He did not say directly like that, but from his statement, that's what I took. Russian side has been informed about the results of the negotiations between United States and Ukraine in Florida that happened like a few days ago, in past weekend, I believe. Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov stated, he noted that the text of the Ukrainian conflict settlement has been neither drafted nor consulted with Russia by anyone so far. So there is not even a draft. There is not even a freaking draft in place to talk about. So all these hopes that maybe Moscow will manage to build some bridges with Washington and persuade U.S. administration to have a cooperation and de-escalate and stuff, this is all baseless hopes, right? Absolutely baseless. How anyone can actually believe that you can have serious negotiations with the Western ruling class in general and the U.S. ruling class in this particular case, right? How you can believe that you can have real talks with them and then believe in probability that American side, if any agreements are reached, can honor this agreement. It's just nonsense, right? It's nonsense. Nonsense. Best way to deal with Washington nowadays, or the Western world, Western ruling class, generally speaking, is to just ignore, right? Stay away as much as possible, punish when they commit crime, and just distance yourself as much as possible, because you cannot have no deals with them, no agreements with them, no serious negotiations with them, because they will never honor any agreement, period. And I remind you, dear friends, that Russian, when it comes to sponsors of these terrorists and fascists and Nazis in Kiev, well, Russian ambassador in UK, Andrei Kelin, was quite direct in his recent statements, and he said that UK pushes Ukraine to escalate the conflict, and we all clearly are observing escalation, by the way. We clearly are observing escalation, and probably this is just the beginning. More to come. All the steps taken by the British today indicate their desire to push Kiev to further escalation, pumping Kiev with the weapons, joint programs for the production of drones and long-range missiles on the territory of the United Kingdom, training of Ukrainian armed forces soldiers there, the presence of British military so-called medics, workshops, and specialists in repairing military equipment in Ukraine. Nothing indicates London's desire to end the conflict, ambassador said, and he is on point here, clearly. He is on point. We all understand what is going on. We all understand that only language Western ruling class, including British ruling class, understands is the language of force and pain. And until we will bring to them pain, real pain, they're not going to react on any warnings from Russia, any messages from Russia, on anything, right? And I truly don't understand why we being this patient with these terrorist entities that UK is, US is, France is, Germany is. Why we being so patient with these terrorist freaking entities? And I'm talking about these quasi-states, by the way, that are run by terrorists, mass murderers, genocidal maniacs, right? I can understand if someone from US will feel, why you are calling my country terrorist or entity. Well, I mean, how many people your country killed, man, in past 2-3 decades alone? How many? How many millions died because of your country? Is your country implementing terror on other peoples to force them, to influence them? That's the definition of terrorism, by the way. When you're using terrorist methods to force people to take some political actions. What our US is doing to Cuba, that's a terrorism, pure definition of terrorism. When you are starving people to death, literally starving people to death, to force them to rebel against their own government, you are forcing them to take some action that they don't want. Otherwise, they would not need anybody's advice. That's a terror. And UK does the same. France, Germany, collective West, that's what they do, man. So don't be, I saw a conversation or debates yesterday on the Piers Morgan show when Dave Smith was attacked by this other nobody, this non-entity, by the way, from PBD podcast, Zionist scam. So he attacked Dave Smith. You are familiar with the Dave Smith, I'm quite sure, for calling US regime a terrorist organization. And Dave Smith explained the situation quite well, man. What are you when, because of your terrorist activity, millions of people are dying left and right and millions of people are displaced? You are a terrorist. You are killing more people than any terrorist organization can freaking dream of. Terrorist organization that are recognized as such by everybody. So that's where we are, man. That's where we are. That's why I'm saying only way to deal with the modern Western world that is run by genocidal maniacs, terrorists, inhuman elements is to punish them for the crimes that they commit against you and stay as far away as possible. Right? Because you cannot communicate with them. It's just not possible, man. Just leave door open for ordinary people, right, from those countries to come visit Russia if they want to. Leave door open for social communication, but when it comes to political, economical stuff, no, man, just cut it off, all of it, completely. Stay away, right? It's just too freaking dangerous. And also, dear friends, let me give you an update that Russian Armed Forces liberated settlement of Nikiforovka in Slavyansk, Kramatorsk-Slavyansk direction. And I guess that's about it for this proxy war segment that West is waging against Russian Federation. And so let's continue with some other stuff. Where I was here, and I'm gonna give you breaking news, sort of, that Iran struck yet another U.S. jet. This time around, according to reports, it's a F-18, Fa-18 carrier-based plane, attack plane, fighter bomber, and this is from Abraham Lincoln Aerial Wing, I guess, because Gerald Ford is already stationed somewhere in Crete, right? And I can give you a video, by the way, of this attacker. I was a bit surprised that until now there was no reports about F-18s being neutralized, but well, we have such a report now. This is the video of interception. So you see, plane clearly was hit by interceptor missile. Scale of damage is it's hard to assess. Scale of damage. Plane most definitely had serious structural damage. Even if it managed to make it to aircraft carrier or land somewhere on the ground in a Gulf monarchies, that plane is out of action either forever or for a very sustainable time. So first Fa-18 being struck by Iranians. Footage clearly confirms that. I don't think this is AI, by the way. So success on behalf of Iranian militaries there. And once again, dear friends, once again, I can see now there are 73 people on YouTube that are watching this video. Let me remind you that Viper, dear friends, is inviting you. Viper, member of our community on Rumble, invites you from YouTube to join community on my Rumble channel. And if you can do so, just leave a message in the chat there, right? And you will get a month of premium subscription. And every such a gift that a Viper or any other member gives is a $5 donation to this project. So simultaneously, you will help my project too. I dropped again now a link to my Rumble page. Just click there, and that's it. And also, let me drop a link to my Patreon in case you like my work, want to support, and can afford to subscribe to my Patreon page. Okay, that's being said, let's continue with some other news now. And yes, Middle East, by the way, Middle East, Israeli and US Western media was pushing this narrative for past 2 days that allegedly Supreme Leader of Iran authorized Iranian leadership, Abbas Araghchi and others, to engage in talks with American side. I know this was a false narrative that was pushed by Western media, and we get confirmation of that. This is nonsense. Never happened, right? And U.S. President yesterday, I believe, went to make another statements in regards to Iran, saying that Iranians are asking for a deal so badly and stuff like that. Let's listen, man. Let's listen what he was talking about there.
By the way, a tremendous success, as you know, in Iran. We had one in Venezuela, and now we're having one in Iran. They have no Navy left. They have no Air Force left. They have no anti-aircraft equipment left, no radar left, no leaders left. The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people, and they want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. And we'll see what happens. I want to thank.
So you see, um, this is not the first time Trump is saying that it's Iranians that are asking for communication. They won't deal so badly, and this and that. And I don't really believe in this. I don't really believe in this. I don't think this is true, by the way. But that's the narrative. That's the narrative that U.S. president is pushing, and I don't think even his supporters believe in this stuff. It does looks like Trump is being cornered now. He cornered himself basically while acting on behalf of Zionists, globalists, neocons, not on behalf of American people actually. And if he have to blame anybody, he have to blame himself, right? It is it is what it is, really. And Iran definitely did not ask U.S. for talks. It's Washington that is engaged in this deception operation, that they want to have a deal, negotiations, this and that, while in reality deploying thousands and thousands of troops, and reports are that tens of thousands actually are being prepared to be sent to Middle East. Tens of thousands, at least 4 divisions that talks are right now. Divisions, by the way, right? And well, this was debunked. These claims from the Washington was debunked by Iranian side practically immediately. But nevertheless, Trump continues to push this, play these games, right? Nonsensical games. So here we even to say that Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Rubio, and Trump's aide Witkoff are engaged allegedly in talks with Iran. Okay, man. Okay. And after so many claims from the Western side, from Western so-called media, Western politicians or American politicians, and also Israeli so-called media, RT contacted their source familiar with the position of Iran's supreme leader, Muqtada Khamenei, and asked if these reports are true, that Khamenei authorized these negotiations or talks with the American side. And well, that's a report I took from RT itself. Informed Iranian sources denied to RT earlier reports by Ynet or Ynet claiming Supreme Leader Muqtada Khamenei agreed to negotiate with the US. Period. After this statement of indirect statement of Khamenei, we can argue there is no need to continue this nonsensical conversation about some illusory talks between US and Iran representatives when none of it is happening. Maybe some messages being sent front and back through intermediaries, through third parties, but there are no true negotiations in place, nothing. But for whatever reason, globalists, we know for what reasons, globalists, neocons, Zionists, they are still pushing for this false narrative, and they bring into this game even IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, and head of this formerly UN body, in reality, tool that been weaponized by Israeli Mossad, US CIA, and British MI6. Rafael Grossi stated that US-Iran talks might take place this weekend in Islamabad, Pakistan. Total nonsense. Total freaking nonsense, right? But there is a push, massive push in this to create this false reading of their picture throughout the world, including inside Iran. And I said straight away that all this deception operation looks like an attempt, first and foremost, to create some tensions inside the Iranian factions. Also, I think there is a truth in the claims of some commentators on the internet that Trump and his family, his inner circle, are speculating on the markets, right? And that's why he made this his statement about prolongation of the ultimatum to Iran on Monday before markets open, and he prolonged this ultimatum for 5 days until, including Friday, right, when markets will close. So there can be truth in that too, right? Probably Trump's administration is one of the most corrupt that U.S. ever has, even more corrupt than previous one, Biden's administration, believe it or not. But I mean, at least Biden and his inner circle were trying to hide some stuff, right? But these ones, they don't try to hide nothing. They are fully in inside trading, right? And they are making freaking billions, I guess. They are using position of Trump to clearly make big buck, and they do it quite successfully. And so, yes, they bring in IAEA chief too in this deception operation. Although, as RT reported, position of Muqtada Khamenei is clear. There is no authorization for any talks or any negotiations with the US. Period. End of story. And also, well, eventually, step by step, when some Western media outlets realized that this false narrative is not working and being ignored largely in Iran and outside of Iran, no one believed them, really. Well, they become backtracking. Often their own earlier claims. And for example, New York Times and many others began claiming that US have sent to Iran a 15-point plan to end the war, but Iran rejected. Iran rejected this plan, and you might ask her, what is this 15-point plan? I will get to those points. But when it comes to Iran's rejection, we have this information, for example, that I share on my Telegram and Twitter X page. Iran rejects U.S. peace terms, will decide war on its own terms. Iran has informed Pakistan that it rejects the U.S. conditions for ending the war, according to Al Mayadeen and the Reuters. So two sources there. Press TV, on the other side, Press TV is Iran's state-run media, I believe. Press TV reported that Tehran will conclude their conflict only on the terms it sets itself. The official statement said the U.S. proposal is unacceptable and that Iran will continue self-defense, not allow Washington to dictate their timelines. U.S., when it comes to U.S. demands, U.S. terms, by the way, we have this report, for example. Israeli Channel 12 published these 15 points. If you are interested, I can go through all of them. Removal of all sanctions on Iran. Okay. U.S. assistance in advancing and developing a civilian nuclear project. Removal of the threat of sanctions being reimposed. Iran's nuclear program is frozen under defined framework. Enrich, fifth point, enrich uranium to remain, but under supervision and agreed limits. Missile program to be addressed at the later stage with the limits on quantity and range. Seventh point, U.S. use of nuclear programs restricted to civilian defensive purposes. Development of existing nuclear capabilities halted. No further expansion of enrichment capabilities. No production of weapons-grade nuclear material on Iranian soil. I mean, they are repeating these points are basically in many cases same stuff with different words. Who was writing this? Who was writing this, man? I don't know. This points does not look like someone with intellect, serious intellect, and their knowledge of the subjects were engaged in this in preparation of this quasi document. Well, what the fuck? What the hell is this, man? All enriched materials to be handed over to IAEA within agreed timeline. Again, I mean, same stuff is being repeated. 12 Natanz, Isfahan, and further to be taken out of use, destroyed. 13 international monitoring and verification mechanisms enforced. 14th gradual implementation tied to compliance, and 15 additional regional and security understandings between their parties. I mean, total nonsense, by the way. I can imagine that US, maybe, none of it had happened, but maybe Witkoff or Kushner or whomever actually sent this to Pakistani side, and Islamabad transferred this message to Iranians. And if whoever in Iran was reading this stuff probably was kind of like, is this a joke or some sort? Well, what the hell? Are we gonna talk about this nonsense seriously now? That's where we are. And of course they rejected, man. Of course they rejected. This is not serious stuff, and the US leadership was never serious about the escalation. Let's be real. I have said from the beginning that neither globalists, neither Zionists, neither neocons gonna allow Trump to jump off this runaway train now. Not happening. If he tries, this evening, by the way, I don't know, is it evening in the east coast of US? I don't even know where Trump is, but let's assume he is in Washington. It's a midday, right there, middle of the day, and let's for a thought experiment, let's imagine that he just come up in an hour from now and said that you know what, he won the war, US won the war, everything is achieved, and then that's about it. He's giving orders to US militaries to halt all military actions until further notice. I think moment he will decide to make such a statement, moment this text of a speech that he will have to read from teleprompters will be uploaded to a system, he gonna have a heart attack or something. And he would not make it to the statement itself. That's the situation, by the way, and I'm not at all exaggerating. He's gonna be eliminated like that. So he's done, man. He's done. He sacrificed the interests of the hundreds of millions of US citizens moment he signed up for this crime against humanity on behalf of globalists, Zionists, and the neocons. And he cannot jump off this runaway train now. Not happening. And therefore, anything that comes out from Washington is a deception. Anything. It's a lie and deception. Period. Right? Let's be real here. Let's be real here about it. And obviously, there are many sources that are reporting that Iran has no trust in anything that comes out of Washington for understandable reasons, right? And before I continue, dear friends, let me thank Viper for a gift premium subscription, or a gift of premium subscription to a member of our community. Thank you very much, Viper, for your support. This is $5 donation for the project. And if you are watching on YouTube, as I said, man, you can go to my Rumble channel. A link is in the chat there. Leave some commentary in the chat on the Rumble during the stream, and yeah, that's it. Viper will give you months of a free premium subscription on Rumble, and that will mean $5 donation to this project. So you will help me out too, right, to maintain this project. Okay, that's been said, dear friends. Let me highlight this gift from a Viper. So this is that's how it looks. gift on premium subscription. Thank you very much, Viper, for your support. Thank you. And let's continue. Let's continue with some other news. And well, Trump also made the claim that they won the war. War is over. We won this war. The only one who likes to keep it going is the fake news. The New York Times, ABC, NBC, all lying. He says it's not a close battle. They are totally defeated. Well, Trump is engaged also in this personal war with the U.S. Propaganda outlets that he does not likes, right? All these outlets, by the way, are all for any war that U.S. launches. They always are for wars, right? But clearly Trump has some personal issues with some of these outlets. He wants to be beloved by everybody, right? And if anyone dares to be critical and ask a critical question, then yeah, that's it, man. Now you are his personal enemy, and that's the way he's gonna treat you. He's gonna call you names and do this and that, and it does not matter you are Democrat or the Republican. But look what he's doing to Messi, for example, and what he did to MPJ, right? How he treated that poor woman, man. Woman. Okay, Messi is a man, right? He can man up and deal with this shit. But how he treated her MTJ person that you might disagree with many things that she says, right? But nevertheless, it's a woman, right? She was an active supporter of Trump, big time. She had her quite a big following. She played some role in that landslide victory that Trump had during the elections. And a few months after, he went and threw her under the train, man. What the hell? I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. We don't treat women like that, man. It's if you are a man, you cannot behave like that. Where you grew up, in a freaking sewage. Someone should ask Trump where he grew up, in a sewage or in a family, in a decent family. How he's behaving, man. And this is a president of US, man, face of the country and the nation. It's freaking insane. Of course, I don't give a damn about it, the New York Times or ABC on NBC, but let's be real here. He has some personal issues with them. Otherwise, all these US so-called media outlets, MSM, its entirety in the US or elsewhere in the collective West, it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all propaganda, by the way. There is not a single decent journalist among the ranks of those propagandists there in this so-called media. Pentagon, meanwhile, and I said from the beginning, isn't it? All these talks about negotiations being held between Washington and Tehran. I said straight away, it's a deception, not happening, right? It's a false stuff, and Western world pushed this false narrative so much so that eventually officials in Tehran had to come out and said, you know what, we are not engaged in nothing. We reject all this bullshit. They have to say it, right? To calm things down. And it is a deception because simultaneously with that deception being pushed, that false narrative, we were receiving also other reports that, for example, 3,000 troops from 82nd Airborne are now gearing up to be deployed into Middle East. Already, a significant number of Marines, thousands, by the way, on 4 amphibious assault ships are heading towards the Middle East. Tripoli gonna arrive on 27th, right, in 2 days, I guess, in the region. And then other 3 will follow. Overall, by the way, according to reports, US is activating 4 divisions. 2 airborne divisions or air mobile divisions, 2 infantry divisions. Right? We are talking about some potentially some 30, 40,000 troops at least, right? That's quite significant. That's quite significant. And when they will go ahead with this ground deployment, which is going to be total disaster, of course, well, I guess numbers of US casualties will, of course, skyrocket in such a scale that many people in the US going to be truly shocked. As of now, according to CNN's claim, US suffered 290 casualties. US military suffered 290 casualties. Militaries being wounded on top of 13 or 14 that were officially acknowledged as a killed KAA, right? But the US will launch ground operation, and they might. Of course, we will see tremendous increase in the casualty numbers, and that's why I have said in my previous updates, man, I'm a bit disappointed in America First people in the US because, I mean, they are claiming that they are America First, right? I know there is an internal civil war now in this group of people. But when I say America First, I mean all Americans, by the way. I don't divide them on Republicans, Democrats, and stuff like that. No, I mean, if you are a citizen of US, you have to be America First. You just have to be. How else, man? How else? I'm a citizen of Russia, and of course I'm for Russia all the way. My family lives here. My grandkids will live here. I want Russia to be as successful as it can be, right? So I expect that US citizens will want the same for the country where they live and their families live, their kids, their grandkids, and so on. It's logical, right? So when I say America First, I don't mean just a conservative part of it. I mean all Americans, right? And I am a bit disappointed because it is so freaking obvious that the US will begin deploying large number of troops on the ground. They're gonna, casualty numbers gonna skyrocket, and there are very many US military is gonna die for this war that they did not ask. American people did not ask for in a war for geopolitical agenda of the Zionists, globalists, neocons, and so on. And when this is so clear, I don't understand why there is no freaking massive demonstrations all over the US to stop this madness, man. Why people are not trying to save the lives of their military, save the lives of the civilians that they're gonna kill eventually. American troops gonna kill eventually, because unfortunately, they always kill much more civilians than combatants. That's what they do, man. Take a look at any conflict that they were engaged in. Since the creation of the US, actually, they always kill much more civilians than militaries, right? But question is why American society is not protesting and not trying to stop this madness. Why they are not trying to save at least lives of their own countrymen that are in the military, if they have no care about civilians in Iran? I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And it's not going to be just US troops, by the way. I have said many times before that it's only a matter of time, and their NATO countries, European NATO countries, going to join this war one way or another under whatever pretext. They will find a justification. It might be false flag operation that might happen at any time, literally. It might be something else, but they will find justification why they have to be there, right? And engaged in this war. And we have reports, for example, that UK intends to lead the coalition of to ensure the safety of the ships in Strait of Hormuz. So, I don't know what kind of fixation is that on behalf of British ruling class, that they want to use this word coalition constantly, right? It's not enough that they all become laughingstock with the coalition of willing, right? Coalition of impotence. Now they want another one, right? In the Persian Gulf, man. What a clowns! What a freaking clowns! But that's what they're gonna do, man. coalition to ensure the safety of the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And this is so freaking laughable, really. If if UK's ruling class, if British ruling class was serious about reopening navigation to Strait of Hormuz, when the Lloyd's of London is right there, this insurance market is right there, man. Go and tell them to resume insuring the vessels, and that's it. Navigation is open for most of the countries in this world, for vast majority. Only US, Israel, and their allies will be prohibited by Iranians to use the strait. That's it. And you don't have to send no militaries, no vessels, no this and no that. Just go there in Lloyd's of London, tell them to resume insuring the vessels. But they're not gonna do this, isn't it? Because they were never honest, man. They cannot be trusted ever. And then I said they will come up with some pretext, man, some justification. They always do. Why they have to be engaged in this war also? According to a number of media outlets, their joint plan with France envisages the use of civilian ships as a basis for launching autonomous underwater drone. Miners, it is expected that these devices will search for and destroy Iranian mines. According to US estimates, about 12 of them have been installed. 12 mines, man, and they're gonna send freaking flotilla for that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how anybody can take this morons seriously, and how fucked up this world is that these morons actually are at least formally in a position of decision making. Just think about it, man. How effed up this world actually is, that these morons, man, Stammer, Macron, Merz, that's a Europe alone, man. On the other side of the ocean, you have freaking Corny and this another one, Trump. Freaking clowns, man, that pretend to be actual decision makers. It's insanity. I'm not saying, by the way, that the rest of the world has a much greater leaders. Most of their freaking leaders worldwide probably are not any better, but they are in a position to harm this world in a very same way that Trump and Stammer and Macron came, and others from collectivists. That's the difference. That's the difference, man. You know, it's a serious difference, right? In addition, UK Ministry of Defense is considering their option of converting a Bay-class amphibious ship for their needs of mine countermeasures missions. It is noted that their implementation of this scenario will require direct support for the US from the United States. So you see, there is already talks that we're gonna send this and that, and then amphibious warship. Why you need amphibious freaking warship, man? Amphibious warships have a specific purpose to participate in a landing operation. And it happened so that 4 US amphibious vessels are on the way too. How convenient, isn't it? And you will tell me that it's all about these 12 freaking mines that allegedly, according to US estimates, Iranians dropped in the Strait of Hormuz? Really? Who buys this nonsense, man? Who buys this nonsense? And we have also reports, by the way, that Iran might create a situation in Bab al-Mandeb Strait if escalation aggravates. This information is coming from Tasnim, and this Bab al-Mandeb Strait is entry to the Red Sea, by the way. It's also very important waterway, water artery for a global economy. Let me give you some details on that. So Iran may open another front or create a real threat to Bab al-Mandeb Strait if the enemy resorts to military actions on the Iranian islands or further escalates their ongoing conflict. Tasnim news agency reported on Wednesday, citing its military source. And let me show you that strait, by the way. This is on the northern side. This is Hormuz Strait. of course, that everybody is talking about. And on the southern side of Arabian Peninsula, there is this Bab al-Mandeb Strait, this one here. And this strait can easily be shut down, easily, by Houthi rebels, especially with assistance of Iran, that they might get and will get, most likely, one way or another, right? One way or another. And this is also an issue, of course. This is also an issue that world will consider. But question is still, by the way, will U.S. Military leadership actually stay quieter and will not protest, despite the threat that thousands of U.S. militaries are probably gonna die if they actually launch a ground operation in Iran? Is there any 3 or 4 or even 2-star general in U.S. Army that has any dignity and decency and will at least resign? That's a big question. That's an important question. Or all of them are freaking political pundits and don't give a damn about lives of the US militaries that gonna be wasted for what? For geopolitical agenda of the globalists and the neocons and the Zionist allies? I mean, seriously? And you know, dear friends, whenever there is talks about possible U.S. Land operation, my personal opinion is that potential area of U.S. militaries entering the Iran is the southern eastern coastline of Iran in Arabian Gulf, Oman Gulf, sorry, in Oman Gulf. It so happened that this territory, this corner here, is a part of Balochistan, right? And I said way before US and Israel launched this war that Western ruling class countries that they control and secret services of those countries will most definitely use Baluchi armed groups and also Kurdish armed groups to infiltrate Iran in the ground, to create issues for Iran on the ground. And well, my prediction is that if it comes to ground invasion, one direction is going to be Balochistan, as I predicted. Another one, Kurdistan, by the way. So many troops, many US troops probably will move into Iraq and eventually into Erbil area in Iraqi Kurdistan. And from there, will try to push deep into Iranian territory. I think this is the reason why U.S. Air Force is actively bombing now popular militia forces of Iraq. They killed 5 to 6, maybe up to 8 Iraqi militaries, actually. Militaries too, I mean, regular forces of Iraq during the recent bombing of the Iraqi territory. Because there is certain infrastructure that is being shared by this PMF, that's the name, I believe, Popular Militia Forces, and by Iraqi regular troops, army. And one of those, during the attack on one of those facilities, there were casualties among PMF and among regular forces of Iraq, by the way. So that's the two directions that I think is realistic, that we might see incursion into Iranian territory. I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all if a number of US special forces or troops will also enter Iranian territory from Azerbaijan. That's probability. Turkish direction is probably more secure. I don't think Turkey will participate in this because it's going to be counterproductive for Turkey. So they would not help Western ruling class in that. So that's how it is. That's the directions that I think is probable, more probable than any others. I don't believe U.S. military is gonna go for either Hark Island or any other island, by the way, in the Strait of Hormuz. or in the Persian Gulf. It makes no freaking sense to go for islands first and be sitting duck there until you will try to prepare a bridgehead to land there, on the coast now of Iran proper, and then it's nonsensical, right? So most likely, Balochistan and the Kurdistan areas from which where we will see U.S. ground forces being activated together with whoever gonna support them, right? And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Azerbaijan will also give their territory for U.S. militaries and special forces to infiltrate Iran and create some unrest in Tabriz or in areas where majority are Azerbaijanis, ethnic Azerbaijanis. But friends, I think that will be also a grave mistake on behalf of US, because Iranian Azerbaijanis are Iranian patriots, by the way. They are nation builders of this civilization, together with their Persians, for example, right? And in no way, in no circumstances, they're gonna say no to their own history that they are proud of, right? And if anything, Iranian Azerbaijanis may go so mad on former Soviet Republic Azerbaijan that if Baku does some crazy stuff, man, Iranian Azerbaijanis might just run over the Azerbaijan. I'm telling you. No one should be surprised if that will happen, right? So that's where we are. We will find out. We will find out soon. Meanwhile, let me remind you, dear friends, that still speculations are out there that Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait are considering options for military actions against Iran, to join their war against Iran. Basically, for how many days now these kind of speculations are circulating, mostly through Israeli and the Western so-called media. And well, Saudi Arabia Foreign Ministry eventually reacted on these speculations, and I have this news for you. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry denied their media claims that its leadership wants to prolong a war with Iran, according to Al Arabiya. This is Saudi Arabia state-run media, I believe. Spokesperson said Riyadh has no interest in escalating the conflict. Okay, that's the official statement from Riyadh, that they are neither planning to enter the war against Iran, neither asking anyone's side to prolong this war, US and Israel, for example, right? At least that's where Saudi Arabia stands. It's up to you. Do you believe them or not? I definitely have no trust in Saudi leadership, for sure, right? Why would I trust them? But it's up to you. Of course, Trump spoke about MBS, actual ruler there in Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince. And Trump said that he's a warrior, he is fighting with us. And Trump actually said this, man. This MBS is fighting together with Americans. And what that means? That means only one thing. Either Trump just said some stuff that he didn't really pay attention to, or he intentionally make it seem like Saudi Arabia is actively assisting US. And this is true, by the way. Saudi Arabia is assisting US. They are providing, they never blocked in reality, airspace or the ground, right, for attacks on Iran. But to say it openly, that's a whole different story. And I think Trump might say this publicly because, well, he wants Saudi Arabia war to begin between Saudis, or direct open war between Saudis and Iranians, and between other Gulf monarchies and Iranians. And one of the ways how Western ruling class might provoke this war is to create the tensions or increase the tensions, right, between the capitals, regional capitals there. But yes, Trump said that Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar are all openly fighting alongside the US. Okay, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy. They did not block US for US their territory. That's for sure, and that's a participation, by the way. Whichever you look at it, that's the participation, right? And US is using their air bases, their other military infrastructure that they have, and also they are bombing Iran directly from these Gulf monarchies. And in a minute, I will show you a video of that. And Trump was also asked yesterday if he is encouraging Gulf allies to be more involved in Iranian operation, and he said yes, he wants to see that. And he also went a little further than that. He mentioned NATO, that NATO should be involved also, and they will trigger Article 5 in upcoming days, man. They're gonna do some bloody false flag operation. I'm telling you, man. There is a high probability that U.S. and Israel and UK, their secret services will do some bloody false flag operation. I'm afraid to trigger somewhere in Europe, most likely to trigger Article 5. And I say Europe because I think thought process among organizers of this false attack will be that, well, European leadership play too much, pretending that they don't want anything to have with this war, right? And that they will struggle now to justify direct involvement, right? And if false flag operation is conducted against France, or massive false flag operation with massive casualties against France or UK or Germany or Italy, or I don't know, man, Norway, then that will trigger, or any other, by the way, that will make it easier for them to not just invoke Article 5 of NATO, but to also gain some, and also to rally the masses, right, behind this war. That's going to be their thought process, I think. But they're going to get engaged anyways. It's only a matter of time, and they will. These European NATO member states will openly become a part of this war, right? Meanwhile, Turkey does the opposite. As I predicted even before war has started, by the way, that Ankara will try to use whatever leverage or influence they have in a region to keep all the regional parties out of this war that US and Israel are gonna launch. War has been launched, and I believe Turkey does exactly what I predicted. They have a conversation. I'm quite sure Turkish leadership, Turkish security services had a conversation with their Azerbaijani colleagues in Azerbaijan, and they persuade Baku to stay out of this war, and it worked. You remember, by the way, a couple of weeks ago, there was a crazy statements that coming out from Azerbaijani capital, isn't it? It was looking like they are about to enter the war, but then Russian President Vladimir Putin had a conversation with Aliyev. Also, Turkish leadership had a conversation with Aliyev and others there, and situation changed. And Baku is keeping quiet now. And as I said, that's Turkey definitely plays its positive role to keep Azerbaijan away from Iran, right? And I'm quite sure Ankara will also try to talk to everybody in the Middle East to make sure that Gulf monarchy is going to stay out of this war. And the media is reporting about it too. Turkey is conducting intensive diplomatic efforts to try and prevent Gulf Arab countries from joining the US-Israeli war against Iran, Bloomberg reported, citing sources in Turkish Foreign Ministry, and I believe that this is that rare occasion when Western media outlets are actually reporting the truth. I believe Turkey wants to keep regional countries, Gulf monarchies, out of this war because they know, man, they know what the game plan of the Western ruling class is and how devastating for the world and obviously for the Turkey success of the Western ruling class in this Middle Eastern chapter will be. So, as I predicted before war began, Turkey, Russia, China, and all their other responsible regional and global players will try their best to keep Gulf monarchies out of this war and to maintain as much as possible strategical stability in the region, not to allow Western ruling class to succeed and cut off Middle East from global economy, Middle Eastern energy sources from the global economy. Unfortunately, as of now, despite failures in number of directions on behalf of Western ruling class, they still manage to cut off this region in significant ways from their global economy. But let's hope they wouldn't be able to keep situation this way for much longer. I don't know. They authorized Western ruling class has ordered Trump to deploy ground forces, and that means they are not backing down, and that means they are all in this chapter to reach their tasks. And that means, unfortunately, even if Gulf monarchies, even if Moscow, Beijing, Ankara, other reasonable capitals will succeed with diplomacy to keep Gulf monarchies out of this war, unfortunately, Western ruling class still might succeed if they will begin ground invasion of Iran, right? And if they will continue to keep region largely cut off from the global economy. And they can continue to do so for years, by the way, right? And that's a big issue. That's why I was saying, man, that neither Moscow, neither Beijing can afford Western ruling class to succeed with this plan. It's just too freaking dangerous for everybody. Anyways, dear friends, let's continue with some other news. Good on part of Turkey, by the way. I mean, I'm very rarely saying anything positive about policies of the Turkish leadership, but in this particular case, I believe they are on the right side of history while trying whatever they can to keep Gulf monarchies out of this war. And I just mentioned, isn't it, that Gulf monarchies are providing their airspace, their land to US and Israel for strikes against Iran. And I'm going to show you a video, for example, by the way, when ATACMS missiles, US militaries are launching ATACMS missiles to strike Iran from Kuwaiti territory. This area has been designated, nowadays, by the way, mappers, they know everything, right? So this area was designated, geolocated, it's a Kuwait, according to reports. And let me give you video of launch of these ATACMS missiles, and you tell me if Iran has or don't has right to retaliate on a territory from which Iran was attacked. Of course, Iran has a right to retaliate, man. Of course, right? What else should they do? Thank Kuwait for allowing Americans to, kill Iranian people from their territory? What the hell? And this is the video. You see in the beginning, by the way, there is quite a number of lines here, isn't it? Trace of the missiles that were also launched. And I can see here at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 traces of other ATACMS that were launched. In the video itself, you can see 2 additional missiles were fired. Not Kuwait. And then Leadership of these Gulf monarchies are whining that our territory being attacked for no reason. I mean, seriously, what more reason do you need to have to retaliate? But of course, you're not gonna see this type of videos, by the way, actual confirmations of involvement of the Gulf monarchies in attacks on Iran, in the Western media at least. They're not gonna show you that. They're gonna continue to pretend that these Gulf monarchies are so innocent, right? And Iran, man, this bully striking these Gulf monarchies for no reason at all, you know? Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And let me tell you, man, I have said it many times before, but nevertheless, if anybody has any doubts that Iran can take out all these Gulf monarchies, by the way, I'm telling you, Iran can. I don't want Gulf monarchies to enter this war because I don't want to see war on ethnic and sectarian lines. I don't want the Western ruling class to succeed in their anti-human plans. But in practical terms, Iran can neutralize these Gulf monarchies like that. You know, Saudi Arabia is the most powerful among them, right? And the Houthi rebels forced Saudi Arabia to kneel, man, to kneel. So you can imagine what Iran can do to Saudi Arabia and all the others if Houthi rebels are, did manage to force Riyadh to freaking beg for a ceasefire. That's how things are, man. Right? Let's continue with some more news. Well, Kuwait today issued a nuclear safety guidance, which is quite a stuff to do, man. Why you are issuing nuclear safety guidance? Do you know something that's gonna happen? And Kuwait, from a land point, is closest to Iran. There is only small portion of the Iraq in the Basra area between Kuwait and Iran. By the way, let me show you on the map. So that's Kuwait here, right? That's Iranian territory, and this is Iraq. This is Iraq, by the way. So Kuwait is issuing nuclear warning to its public. There are some videos that are circulating on Kuwaiti TV. Strange. What they know? Do they hear that maybe there are gonna be strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, or do they hear that either Israel or US or both gonna deploy nukes against Iran, or what reasons did they have, Kuwaiti authorities, to scare the hell out of their own population with their nuclear safety guidance being issued there for everybody? I don't know, man. I don't know, but I would not be surprised at all, as I said, if nukes will be used in this war by either Israel, either US, because they are both capable. That's for sure. They are not, they are aggressors, man. They are aggressors and should be condemned by everybody, of course. If they were attacked first, okay, but they were not attacked. So therefore, there will be no justification for them to use nukes. None whatsoever. If they were attacked, okay, man, I have no issue with nukes being used, man, actually, right? That's why we have these fucking nukes, to use it if necessary. If we are attacked, if so many our people are killed, like thousands, if our strategical infrastructure is destroyed, or if we are facing some existential threats, then let's use whatever means we have, right, to defend ourselves, including nukes. I have no issue with that. and I never pretend otherwise. But last time I checked, it was U.S. and Israel that attacked Iran. Iran didn't target them first, so there will be no freaking justification for neither Israel or the U.S. to use nukes, none at all. But they might, man. They might, anyways. And I mentioned, dear friends, that U.S. militaries have activated their targeting operations in Iraq. They are going after Iraqi militaries. They are going after popular militia forces, right? That's mainly mostly Shiite militia forces that destroyed ISIS, by the way. It's PMF that largely destroyed ISIS in Iraq with assistance of IRGC, actually. Trump claimed that it's the US that won the war against ISIS and stuff like that. And some people actually believed, when in reality it was US that created ISIS. As it was the case that Al-Qaeda was created by US Secret Services. I mean, everybody knows this, right? And somehow when Trump claimed that, well, we defeated ISIS, many people actually applaud that shit, man. What you did, you created ISIS. You didn't defeat nothing. It was Iraqi people and Syrian people that fight against ISIS, fight against Al-Qaeda. And it was Iran, by the way, that played a key role in defeating these terrorist monsters that US created with assistance of Saudi Arabia, UK, Qatar, you name it, Israel, and so on. And of course, Russia played also a key role in defeating ISIS in Syria. I'm quite sure Russia was providing assistance militarily and otherwise to Iraqi government too, in terms of weapon supply and stuff. But I don't know if Russian special forces were actually on the ground there. I don't think so. But when it comes to Syria, of course, Russian militaries did play a key role to defeat ISIS for many, many years. But unfortunately, it happened that eventually, Assad's regime were overrun due to corruption and God knows what else there. And ISIS, one of their leading ISIS commanders, is now leading Damascus regime, man, which is insanity, right? Insane, man, absolutely insane. But that's the reality. And so I said, man, U.S. intensify attacks on IMF forces, PMF forces, popular militia forces in Iraq. Also, Iraqi militaries were killed, and I believe I have I shown video, by the way, when A-10s, US A-10s are targeting these forces. I believe I have a video of that. So, for example, this one, you can clearly see it. So that's the A-10, by the way, ground attack plane that US has, somewhat similar, not visually, by the way, but they have similar tasks that Russian Su-25, Su-39s have, right? And well, they were attacking headquarters, I believe, or some infrastructure that is used by PMF, and it happened that this very same infrastructure was used by Iraqi armed forces too. And as a result, there were significant casualties among Iraqi army. 6 or 8 people were killed, many wounded, and well, as a result, we have this report that you see on the screen right now that Iraq gives the PMF, Popular Militia Forces, green light to respond to U.S.-Israeli aggression by all means available. Iraq's Ministerial Council for National Security authorizes the PMF to respond under the principle of the right of response and self-defense. This was triggered by the US airstrike on the PMF operators operations headquarters in Anbar province yesterday morning, killing Sadr al-Baiji, the PMF's Anbar operations commander, along with the 14 of his men, 30 total killed and wounded. And as I said, there was casualties among Iraqi regular army too, by the way. And now PMF has authorization to go ahead with their all means necessary to take out U.S. assets, and I guess that's what they're gonna do. And no one should be surprised if Baghdad itself, on a political level, will further escalate with Washington. Let's say this way, and maybe Baghdad will demand complete withdrawal of all immediate complete withdrawal of all foreign forces from Iraqi territory, or else. Maybe, man. There is a high probability that Iraq will eventually side itself with Iran and will try to fight off this terrorist alliance that is led by US and Israel. Meanwhile, of course, the bombing campaigns continue. US and Israel is bombing Iran. Iran is retaliating. More than 80 waves of Iranian retaliatory strikes has happened already. And right now on your screen, on the right picture there, you can see aftermath of a massive explosion that occurred when Iranian missiles struck Israel's nuclear hub in Dimona. This time around during the daylight. That's Dimona, allegedly most protected by air defenses place in Israel. And I don't know if I have a video of this explosion. I might. Let me check, by the way. Give me a sec. I published this on my Telegram and Twitter, so I will make a copy from there, by the way. So, okay. And that's the video of aftermath. On one of their channels, I saw. So yeah, that's exact moment when this explosion had happened. On one of the channels, I believe I saw a video from other angle, moment of strike itself. But anyways, you get the point, isn't it? That Iranian militaries are well capable of striking most protected area in Israel, despite all the claims, either by Israeli side or American side, that Iran no longer has any launchers, any missiles, or anybody and anything left. Well, really, just a few hours ago, F-18 was intercepted. How? Iran not supposed to have any air defenses left. Dimona is targeted. How? Iran not supposed to have any freaking launchers or the missiles left. It's insanity, man. Level of, what? There is a propaganda and propaganda, isn't it? And there are intellectual people that are in the business of propaganda. I'm quite sure can come up with some propaganda that at least believable. They will give you like 60-70% of truth, right? Maybe 80-90% of truth, and a little bit of propaganda that will influence your thought process and move you towards certain direction. I believe clever ones can do such a trick, but Western ruling class is degenerated on such a scale, including their propaganda outlets, that they are not even trying, man. They are not even trying to be believable. They're just pushing some freaking nonsense right there, and they're, you know. Anyways, this is another strike, aftermath of another Iranian strike. This time around, this is industrial complex in Ramla, by the way, central Israel. Okay. This footage shows aftermath of alleged Iranian drone strike on Kuwait International Airport. This footage here shows Iranian drone strike, alleged Iranian drone strike in a hotel in Erbil, Iraqi Kurdistan, where members of US private military companies and the armed forces were allegedly staying, right? So Iran is very much active, man. Iranian militaries are very much active and taking actions against hostile assets throughout the region. Right? Also, a couple of more news, dear friends. And before I go through those news, let me once again thank Viper for another 2 gifts of a premium subscription to member of our communities. And also I see super chat from Bonzo Beans. Long time. I was thinking to write an email, by the way, to ask, is everything okay? Let me make a screenshot, by the way. Oh, good to see you, John. Hopefully, everything is good. And yes, so let me highlight, dear friends, right now. Let me take a minute off from the news. Let me highlight these screenshots. So let me thank Viper once again for gifting a month premium subscription to a member of our community. Free such gifts from Viper today, and each gift is a $5 donation to the project. So that's a $15 donation to this project from Viper. Thank you very much for your support. And let me highlight, dear friends, also super chat from our moderator, John Banzo Beans on our Rumble and YouTube channel too, by the way. John is moderator on both channels. Just a quick hello from my extended geopolitics sabbatical. Hope you are all well. I hope you are good, John. Hopefully you are doing good. I was really worried, man, because I have not seen you for quite a few weeks now. I think in the chat. I was thinking to write you later, ask her if everything is okay. Hopefully this is the case. Thank you very much, John, for being here and for your super chat and $5 donation and for your greetings. Thank you. And let's continue with the news, right? There's still a few more news that I want to share with you, dear friends, in this news segment. Well, next one is about USS Gerald Ford, which is docked now in a Crete, Greek island in Mediterranean. And reports are that this vessel has suffered actually much more serious issues than was earlier reported. And some sources are saying that maybe aircraft carrier will require at least 12 to 14 months of maintenance work, right? This number might be actually twice or 3 times longer because US has like 10, 11 aircraft carriers. Only one is actually operational, Abraham Lincoln, looks like. Gerald Ford was never fully operational, really. And there are rumors that Bush, another aircraft carrier, third one, Bush is being dispatched for a Middle East, but I'm not sure if that aircraft carrier is fully operational. Maybe partially operational. Rest of them are non-operational. Rest of the U.S. aircraft carriers, and therefore, I guess they are queuing in to enter the dock where they can be, some work can be done on those aircraft carriers, and that's why I'm saying maybe Gerald Ford will have to wait for a freaking couple of years before it will get some serious checkup, right? No one should be surprised by it. And there is only like one or two shipyards in the US that can actually take these massive vessels for works, right? And they are always busy, by the way, understandably so, right? So yeah, that's what is going on. As time goes by, probably we will learn some more about state of this aircraft carrier. And also, I wonder if there really was a sabotage, by the way, from the sailors of either sewage system, or if it was the sailors that actually create that fire in laundry, or maybe it was a freaking strike, missile strike from Iranians or the Houthis. I don't believe it was a missile strike because I have seen some videos of this aircraft carrier being moved around in a grid, and I was, in those videos at least, I was trying to see any outside damage, and I did not notice. So probably it was actual, internal some issue, right? Either fire, either emergency or actual sabotage. Who knows, man? Meanwhile, few economical news. Volkswagen, world famous German car manufacturer, that no longer able to produce affordable and most importantly competitive vehicles, competitive cars. Looking for additional, some other ways to make some buck, some money, and reports are that this company Volkswagen might help produce Iron Dome components for the Israel. Volkswagen is in talks. Am I pronouncing correctly, by the way? Volkswagen or Volkswagen? I don't know. I was saying BMW, by the way, all my life. There's another car brand famous from Germany. I was always saying BMW. And then, I switched to this Western or English pronunciation, BMW. It's not a freaking BMW, it's BMW, right? It's BMW, by the way. Anyways, Volkswagen is in talks with the Rafael Advanced Defense Systems to convert a factory in Osnabrück to make components for the Iron Dome. The plant would build the trucks to carry the missiles, launch units, and their power generators. Okay, Volkswagen, okay, man. Yeah, German economy is in trouble, truly, man. German economy is in trouble, and there are all these big names in business, not just in terms of car manufacturing, but everything else. All of them are experiencing some issues, especially ones that are heavily energy dependent. It is what it is, and they should thank German leadership for that. They are destroying this great country, by the way, great nation is being ruined intentionally by their own freaking elites. I cannot understand this nonsense, man. I really can't. How this is even possible, man. I just don't get it. Crazy. How Germans allow these fucking Greens, man, to overrun the country and began destroying its future while pushing for this nonsensical green agenda or whatever. And eventually Germany shut down nuclear freaking power plants, most green power generator that there is, right? Many people, due to this propaganda of the greens and stuff, don't really understand that nuclear power generation is a most carbon free, let's say, right? Most friendly to the nature, you know? And Germany has no active nuclear reactor left because of these greens and other cycles. And then other ones destroyed relationships with Russia, cut off ties with Russian Federation, big time, right? And now entire freaking industry in Germany is crumbling and in a mess, in a mess because of it. Sad story, man. Sad story. Also, I believe I mentioned this yesterday, maybe not, but Russian Superjet and their MS-21 passenger planes, completely domestically built without any foreign components in it, will finalize their certification and flight tests this year, and most likely from 2027 we will see mass production launch of this aircraft, which is a great news, of course. MS-21, by the way, regarded as a possible replacement for Boeing 737 and Airbus 320. This is a medium-range aircraft, MS-21, unlike Superjet, by the way. Superjet is more for shorter ranges, like 1,000 kilometers, 1,500, 1.5 thousand kilometers, maybe up to 2,000 kilometers. I cannot remember exact range, by the way, but MS-21 is a wide-body plane that can easily fly, I believe, for 5,000 kilometers. So it's a medium-range plane, which is good. Good, by the way. Hopefully, we will soon have also long-range planes, civilian passenger planes that will able to carry passengers for 7, 8, 10,000 kilometers. It's doable. It's doable, and we can do this. And also, let me once again remind you that Russia temporarily holds ammonium nitrate fertilizer export to prioritize domestic farmers and their ongoing Iran conflict. Due to this, especially due to this ongoing Iran conflict, when situation on the markets are extremely volatile, supply disruption could severely impact the world food market. We all know that, and Russia is, of course, one of the biggest food producers in this world, of course. So it makes all the sense to prioritize first our own farmers, right? And then if we have more stuff, of course, we should export this more stuff to friendly nations first, and then whoever wants to buy it, right? And everyone wants to buy fertilizers, because without it, you're not gonna have a produce, by the way, right? And so this is it for now. Hopefully, dear friends, you find this update informative and useful. Before I end the stream, let me once again show you this video of first interception of FA-18 plane. I don't think this is an AI generated video. I think this is a genuine video. So you see here, it's clearly FA-18, right? Based on silhouette, I think it's FA-18, and there is two different points in this particular video. There is two different points from which this attack was filmed, and as of now, it is unknown. It is unknown if plane managed to reach safely land or not. But by tomorrow morning, probably we will have more information, and of course, I will give you additional updates on that too. This is, I believe, first instance when FA carrier base FA-18 was intercepted, and because Gerald Ford is out of action, is in the Mediterranean now. This plane was from another aircraft carrier, Abraham Lincoln. that US still has in the region, right? Okay, this is it for now. This is it for now. Hopefully you like the video, dear friends. Once again, many thanks to John Banzo Beans for donation to the project. Many thanks to Viper for these gifts of monthly subscriptions to members of community, which is also donations to the project, of course. Many thanks to all of you, dear friends, for your time and attention, and for support. Thanks to you, I am still here. It's all thanks to you, dear friends, that I'm still here in this field of news and political commentary. So I'm truly grateful for this. And many thanks to everybody who ever supported, supports, and supported in the past, continues to support now, and will support in the future. Truly appreciate, truly grateful. Thank you. And well, did I manage to keep my cool? This live stream was, I think, better than morning's one, isn't it? If you know what am I talking about, if you have seen that morning's live stream. So, anyways, after live stream ends in minutes time, literally, video will be unlisted, by the way, on YouTube and Rumble, and original links will be published on my Patreon and the Boosty pages. If you can support her and subscribe to my Patreon and Boosty, that would be, of course, great, very, very much welcomed. Links to my Patreon or the Boosty are on this video description box in the pinned comment, as well as a link to PayPal page that you can use to donate. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day and take care. See you tomorrow. Thank you.